All right, hey guys, I am going to go over your benchmark review, those questions that um, can be done either on Desmos or on your calculator tricks, or even if it's just a quick question, right? Like a quick give me question. Okay, so like this first one, which expression is equivalent to 2m to the power of 4 times 5m to the power of 8? Well, this is your product rule, guys. So you just multiply the big numbers. So I'm going to multiply the 2 and the 5 and get 10. And then if I have m to the power of 4, okay, I have m to the power of 4 and m to the power of 8. All together, I have 4 plus 8. So I have 12, right? And so that's what makes B our answer. Okay, but anyways, so that's just a quick question that we can get right. All right, number 2, the function, anytime it talks about transformations, you can use Desmos. Remember, all you have to do is type it in. So we have f of x equals x. Okay, and then it says was transformed to form g of x. So then it's g of x equals whatever f of x was, but then minus 23, right? So if I zoom, I wonder if I can zoom. Oh, there we go. That's as much as I can zoom, right? So if I zoom out, I can see that if my red graph was the original and my blue, they are parallel lines. They're never going to intersect. So I can get rid of A and B because the word parallel is, them saying it's not parallel is wrong. Okay, so these lines are parallel. Okay, and then it shifts down. Okay, so because the graph shifts down, okay, D is going to be my answer because it says 23 units down. Okay, this one's just asking where the two x-intercepts are, guys. Very easy, right? X-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis, so it's those two. It's at -1 and 3. All right, so that's just how you get done quickly on the first page, right? So the second page, you have a writing equations one, but then we have what are the solutions, right? So you can do menu 331 on this, right? Because it's asking for solutions, that is menu 331. Okay, so you would just type in your answer choices into menu 331 and see which ones give you 7/5 and -2/3. That's it, right? And you can use Desmos with this because remember, a solution is where it crosses the x-axis. So if I have 14x squared plus 11x minus 15, right, you're going to look and see where they cross the x-axis, which -1 over or 1.5 as a or as a fraction is -3/2. So we definitely know that A is not our answer because -3/2 is not one of the options. Okay, so just be aware that you can use menu 331 on these and just put your answer choices in there, or you can use Desmos. Okay, this one, again, you use your calculator and then you just match. Okay, so I have the square root of 75 is 8.66, and I just go through. Oh, and it's your first one, right? You're just matching the decimals. Okay, so these are both 8.66, right? And so I'm just matching. Okay, easy calculator trick for you. Okay. All right, and then, so, solution. Okay, factors. Here we are again, okay? All right, this is anytime it asks for the word factors, okay, and you see an x squared, this is menu 331. Okay, menu 331. All right, so if I were to just put it in Desmos, because I can still use Desmos, because remember, a solution is where it crosses the x-axis, okay? So then I have -3 as a solution. And then I have 2.5, but I can't use 2.5, so I put it in here and get a fraction. And I have 5/2. So remember, once I have the solutions, I turn them into factors by changing their signs. So I have x plus 3. And then if it's a fraction, remember bottom's up, so bottom goes up to the front, and then I change the sign. Okay, so we have x plus 3, and then 2x minus 5. Okay, all right. Domain and range, I'll go over that in a different video just because that is something that's important to know. This one right here, guys, if it gives you a graph and gives you answer choices, you can plug them into Desmos and match, right? So y equals 2x minus 4. Okay, that crosses at a -4, not a +2. So see how this one has a y-intercept of a +2, right? So then I'm going to go graph a different one. So y equals 2x plus 2. That one looks pretty good, maybe, right? It crosses at the same spot, but I don't know if it's the right slope, so then I have to figure out. Okay, so then therefore, like, this one's not the same either because it has the same y-intercept. And then I go and graph the other one. 1 divided by 2, x plus 2. That one's pretty much as flat as the other one, right? They both share that ordered pair, 2, 3. 2, 3. Right, so 2, 3 is on that graph, so D is our answer. But guys, this has a y-intercept of 2, has a slope of rising 1 and running 2, right? So that's what makes it 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, but again, you can use Desmos and play match with the ordered pairs. All right, so this one, again, it is asking for the zeros, okay? The zeros, guys, are the x-intercepts, okay? Zeros is a big definition word that you need to know. It's the x-intercepts, but it's also the solutions of a quadratic. So I can, again, use my calculator trick or use Desmos and see where it crosses the x-axis. So it only crosses the x-axis at 1.5. So again, I don't have a fraction or a decimal, so I change it to a fraction. So it's at 3/2. Well, there's only one 0. So it says the only 0 is 3/2, so D is the answer, right? And then they just put it into the factor, which this square just means that it's twice, and that's right, okay? All right, so... All right, this one's an easy one. It's asking for the slope and the y-intercept, so I feel obligated to go over it. Okay, so again, the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, so that's -4. So in this case, it is going to be A for that one. And then the slope is the rise over run. So I rise 2, run 1. So because I rise 2 and run 1, it is a +2 slope. So slope is E, right? So I feel obligated to go over those really easy questions. All right, anytime you see the word equivalent, so I told you this before Unit 8 test, but anytime you see the word equivalent, you can use Desmos to help you. Okay, so you just, in the first box, type in everything. Remember, Desmos doesn't like anything other than x, so just change those variables to x. So we have x plus 5 times x squared minus 4x plus 6, right? Okay, so I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit, right? Okay, so a really funky graph we got going on here, but if you type in your answer choices, right, x to the power of 3, so if you need to use a different number, this a to the b right here, that's right next to your squared button, is what you would press to give something other than a squared. Okay, 5 squared, oh wait, not 5 squared, 5x squared plus 6x plus 30. Okay, so that's not the same graph. So A is not the answer, right? So then I erase it and then I do another one. So x squared plus x plus 11. That's not even the same shape, right? So anything with x squared is not going to be our answer because remember, x squared will give us a parabola shape, so we don't want that. So our only answer can be C, but let me show you why. So x to the power of 3, right? And then plus x squared minus 14x plus 30. And see how it matches, right? So it's the same graph, so therefore it is our answer, right? You could also FOIL or do the box method here. But remember, anytime it says the word equivalent, you can also use Desmos, which is why I wanted to go over it. All right, so the next one is something we'll learn on Monday. It's about parts of a quadratic, super duper easy. All right, we got a solving equations one. All right, if you want to check your answer on that, you can always look at my benchmark review. Okay, solving for y and asking for the rate of change. Okay, we got to remember how to solve for y. All right, this one right here, the systems of a linear equation. Okay, so this is your menu 3-2 question. Okay, I don't have the ability to show you how to do this in Desmos because there is no way other than if you solve for y and graph both, right? But it only wants the x value. So remember that menu 3-2 gives you an ordered pair because it's where it crosses. And so you're only going to give me that x value as my answer. Okay. Range. All right, again, a factor one, right? So I'm going to sit here and either put it into my menu 3-3-1 or I can graph it in Desmos, right? Plus 20. Right, and I'm going to figure out where they cross. Okay, so I know it crosses at -4, and then 0.833 as a fraction. Right, we don't like that, so if something like that comes up, like 833 over 1,000, keep pressing that 3 until another fraction comes up, and so it's 5/6. That's a Desmos hack for you there. Okay, so then if I put these in two factors, it's x plus 4 and then 6x minus 5. So therefore, B is our answer, right? So super duper easy. Okay, if you remember that a factor is the opposite sign of your solution. All right, this one's just your quotient rule. So remember, when you're doing quotient rule, you just subtract. So -6 minus 3 is a -9. And then y to the power of 4 divided by y to the power of 1. Remember, that's a 1, so 4 minus 1 is 3. But remember, negatives go on the bottom. So our answer is this. Oh, no, y. X to the power of 9. All right, this one right here is going to take 2 calculator tricks in one. Okay, so yes, I'm going to create a table. I'm going to create 2 tables. So when I create my first one, -1, 1, and 5, right? -12, -2, and 18. Okay, so remember that first line is going to get y1 squiggly line mx1 plus b. So y1, say squiggly line mx. Okay, and it gives you that your line 1, okay, is y equals 5x minus 7. So luckily for us, we do have one equation that's in y equals. So I can 100% get rid of 2 of my answer choices because I do not have 5x minus 7. Now, let's say it wasn't standard, right? So you can do another table, right, for our second line. So we have -1 again, 2, and 6. 16, 4, and -12. But this time, because I have a second line going on, I'm going to do y2 squiggly line, mx2 plus b. Because then it'll give me the slope and the y-intercept of line 2. So y2 squiggly line mx2 plus b. Because I'm using the second table. So notice here in this second table, it's x2, y2, right? So you're telling Desmos to use the second table. So that one is negative 4x plus 12. So here's where the other calculator trick comes into play. So Desmos will graph where they intersect, right? If I zoom in on where they intersect at 2.11 and then 3.56, right? So then you could put your last two remaining answer choices in menu 3-2 and see which one gives you the same answer to get your answer. Okay, so that's where you can do two different calculator tricks here. Okay, or you can solve for y on the last equation, right? So if I take this equation and solve for y, okay, that's 4x plus y equals 12. I subtract 4x to the other side. Y equals 12 minus 4x, which is exactly what line 2 was. So therefore, B is our answer on this one, right? But menu 3-2 would have told you that as well, because this answer choice right here would have got you the solution of 2.11 and 3.56. Okay. This one, okay, it's a Desmos kind of, like you have to use Desmos to help you. So you have to type in that function, all right, and then find the range. Right, so if I do f of x equals 2 divided by 5, parentheses, x minus 225 squared plus 13, right? So, I'm going to have to zoom out a lot, right? So it's asking for the range. Remember, range is bottom to top. So then I go to the bottom. Okay, it starts... I'm looking at the y value, so it starts at 13 and it's pointing up forever, so it's greater than 13, right? So I can re-go over that and talk about that later. But Desmos can be used on this because it's asking for the range and it gives you a function, okay? All right. So remember with causation and correlation, if you're going to choose causation, it is both causation and association, okay? So technically you should not ever choose something like this, right? It can only be association only, or both association causation, or neither, right? So just remember that. Okay, this one's just asking which statement is true, right? Slope, x-intercept is 0. Remember, a 0 is an x-intercept, right? So you're probably not going to choose one that says something about an x-intercept twice, okay? But that's just my context clues come into play, okay? Oh wait, JK, don't listen to me because that one is the answer, right? Because your x-intercept is 6, right? So B is the answer here. My fault. Okay, but remember a 0 is an x-intercept as well, right? Okay. All right, so again, another calculator trick, you're looking for a factor, right? So lots and lots and lots of factoring here. All right. So again, I graph in Desmos if I don't have a calculator, figure out where they cross the x-axis. Well, 2.25 is 9/4. So we have a negative version and a positive version. So then when I put those into factors, it's 4m plus 9 and 4m minus 9. Okay, so then D is our answer. All right. This one right here in the middle is something you can do by hand, okay? Using the point slope formula. So we have, remember, y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right. This one is a Desmos one because it's a table, okay? So we put that table in, 15, 20, 35, 55, 3.05, 3.40, 4.45, 5.85. You put your special equation. Right, and it's asking for the rate of change. Remember, rate of change, guys, is slope. So what is the slope? Well, it's the m value, which is 0.07. So C is our answer here. All right. All right, so this was actually on your test, right? So what are the solutions of the equation? X plus 13 and x minus 6. So guys, you can literally use Desmos for this one, right? So you actually don't need to understand it. But remember, these are factors. And the one thing we know about factors and solutions, they are the same numbers, but opposite signs. So in reality, our x value should be negative 13 and a positive 6. But let me show you how you can use Desmos to help you, right? Anytime it's asking for solutions, right? I just have to type it in to Desmos and it will graph it for me. Whoops. Right? So I have an x-intercept of 6 and an x-intercept of negative 13, right? So just be aware of that, okay, that you have the ability to use Desmos on even simpler questions like this, okay? All right, so yes, your answer should be negative 13 and 6, which is B. Okay, remember to solve for y before you graph, okay? If I'm looking for the slope or even an equation that passes through 2 points, you can use Desmos, right? You don't have to do this by hand or use the slope formula. You just create your own table. You only need 2 points to create a line. So again, let's run this back with a table. We have 10 and 18 and negative 5, negative 12. Our special equation, so y1, squiggly line, mx1 plus b, right? So our slope is 2 and our y-intercept is negative 2, but it wants the slope of the line. So with m being 2, our answer is B. Okay, this is another calculator or another Desmos one, okay? So we just type it in. So we have x squared minus 2. But remember, it's not set equal to 0. So you have to still set it equal to 0. So I have x squared minus 2. But now I'm going to add 3x over. Now it's set equal to 0. So I'm going to add 3x. Okay. See where the solutions are? Okay, the solutions are not something fun, right? So I know it's not negative 1 and 2 and negative 2 and 1 because that's not what it tells me. That's not what it tells me right here. It says negative 3.562 and 0.562, okay? So I just have to type my remaining answer choices in, right? So division sign, 3. This is a plus minus sign, meaning, remember, that's just like the quadratic formula. I can only do one at a time, so I'll do plus the square root of 17 and then divided by 2. And I get a positive 3.56. But if I look back at my solutions, that is a negative 3.56. So that's, A is not our answer either because they give us a 3.56, okay? Our solutions should be negative 3.56 and a 0.56, okay? So if I just go back and look, change that to look like answer choice C, and they give me 0.56, and I change this to a minus sign, I get negative 3.56. So C is our answer. Again, another exponent rule. Okay, power rule first, and then you have product rule. All right, this one right here, you have a table again. Okay, so I'm not going to do it just to save some time, but again, you type this into the table. Y1, squiggly line, mx1 plus b. If you want to check your answers, remember my key to my booklet is with the sub, and it'll be on Google Classroom at 3 o'clock on Friday. Okay, this one's easy, right? So if you don't know what the equation of a line should be, you can still graph it. So x equals 6, or is it y equals 6, right? So it looks like my black graph. So x equals 6. So I can get rid of b and c because they have the wrong equation. But then you just have to know, is the slope 0 or is the slope undefined? Well, guys, this is an undefined slope. Okay, so our answer choice is D here. Okay, they ask that every year. All right. All right, last two you can use in Desmos. Shocker, I know. Okay, so this one right here is a little different than what you're used to seeing, right? That says for the linear function f of negative 3 equals 0. Well, guys, remember this is x inside of here, right? And f of x equals y. So what they're saying is there's an ordered pair of negative 3 and 0 and 5 and negative 4. So don't be freaked out if you see it in this form right here, right? If it's inside the parentheses, it's the value of x. If it's after the equal sign, it's the value of y. So then we just create our table. So negative 3 and 0 and 5 and negative 4. Our fun equation that we're going to have memorized by heart. Right? So it tells me that my slope is negative 0.5. So if and right here they have us writing it in an equation if you don't see. Right? They have the x right here, a plus sign. So slope is going to be chosen here. And our y-intercept is going to be chosen here. Okay? So if my slope is negative 0.5, that is the value of D. And then my y-intercept is negative 1.5. That is C. All right, and then again, we have our equivalent, right? So you can use Desmos for that. You can just type in, remember it doesn't like other variables other than x. So k squared, which is x squared, minus 5x, minus 6, right? Okay, so you can use your calculator trick, menu 331. You can use the fact that it says equivalent. Okay, but if you use menu 331, you should get that our solutions are negative 1 and 6. So our factors are x plus 1 and x minus 6. But if you do this, so instead of x or k, I'm going to put x. So x minus 6 and x plus 1. It is the same graph. So this is why using the equivalent method also works other than your menu 331 trick. So you can use Desmos or menu 331. So notice how there is a way they use Desmos on almost all of these questions, guys. So there's really, really, really no reason to be nervous for this test you're about to see. Okay, do you need to know when to use the Desmos and when to use calculator tricks? Absolutely. So that is something we're studying. And also the vocabulary, equivalent, 0, rate of change, solution, whatever it is that you need to study, it's those things right there. All right, bye guys.